KATSEYE Animal. Let's talk about it. How y'all doing? Welcome to Let's Talk About It Music Reviews Season 12. How y'all doing? Welcome to the show, guys. We got a pretty good episode for you tonight. The much anticipated KATSEYE song that's been teased all week. I knew this was going to drop. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I knew this was going to drop like on Wednesday. Like I saw the teaser for it on Wednesday and then it continued on. I was like, okay, I know what I'm checking out on Thursday night. Guys, we got a pretty good episode for you today. KATSEYE, the one and only. I mean, this group sometimes makes some of the worst music I've ever heard in my life. Sometimes they make good music, and sometimes they make mediocre music. It's a very wild card group. Sometimes I'm like, okay, this group's fire. And sometimes I'm like, holy shit, what am I even listening to? So, today we got Animal. Now, I was wondering what the song was going to be. I'm not going to lie to you, the last song that we reviewed on this show, I really like. It's one of those things where, it's definitely the brain rot slop music. And looking back on it, when I reviewed the song, I was kind of like okay with it. I was like, you know what, this is all right. And then literally, right after I reviewed that song, it felt like every K-pop group I was checking out was just copying the brain rot formula from KATSEYE, and it was just kind of blowing my mind. I was just like, wow, this shit's fucking ass. So, I'm really hoping for not a brain rot, fucking crazy ass, fucking annoying song. And honestly, this is probably one of the better tracks that I've heard from KATSEYE. So, let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Now, this kind of instrumental is okay. It's got some kind of old kind of pop funk vibes to it, like with the guitar, with the bass guitar that you hear on here. And I do like how, as the song goes on, there's a little bit of a rock solo in here too, which sounds pretty good. So this instrumental is probably one of the better ones I've heard. But like usually KATSEYE's production, I would say is like some of the best, because the beats they pick out is like really fucking good. It just depends on what the group does with the instrumentals. This is actually a pretty good instrumental. It's nothing too egregious, nothing too bad. It's a little simple. I will say it's that same kind of funky guitar loop, but it's also not the basic guitar loop that I've heard, from, a lot of pop music, a lot of K-pop music that incorporates the, acoustic instrumental guitar. This actually feels a little bit different. So even though it loops kind of, it's that same, 5-second loop, there is some, switch ups. There is some little switch ups with the guitar. It turns to the basic kind of funky guitar. Then it goes to this more kind of rock style. So overall, I really do enjoy what I'm hearing from this instrumental. The beginning verse. Let's talk about the beginning verse. I think the beginning verse is actually pretty good. The singing was pretty good. The flow of the singing. I'd say the beginning verse was actually pretty decent. Nothing too egregious, nothing too bad here. Nothing where I'm going like, okay, this is like a really bad flow or they're not on beat. The singing is actually pretty good. I like the different switch-ups from the members, having some good vocal switches. And also, too, in this song, there's a lot of good vocal runways that I've heard. And, those vocal runways, those, higher pitches, able to, actually sing their ass off. This is kind of what I'm wanting more from KATSEYE. I'm not wanting the brain rot kind of slop TikTok music. That is some of the worst shit that I've ever consumed, music-wise, on this show. So actually having a song that feels like a song, there's not a whole lot of talking. There's not like this like weird like, they say it's rapping. Like that's what people say with K-pop music. They say, they're rapping. It's not talking. Guys, we review rap on this show. They are not rapping. It sounds like talking most of the fucking time. So I do like how, there's more singing. There's not any talking on here, which just makes this song actually feel like a song. So I really do enjoy that. And then this hook. Now, this is one of those things where the hook is replayed over and over and over again. Like, I think you hear this hook 5 times throughout this whole entire song. So, this hook can easily get stuck in your head. I do like the singing on the hook. I do like the flow of the hook, too. My only, I guess my only critique is that it kind of, sounds a little too similar to the verse. But I do like how the song goes on, the song progresses. There's, some good rock instrumental. There's some nice instrumental switch ups. And, there is some moments where, the second variation of the hook, there's some more vocal runways. There's some members kind of singing their ass off in the background. So there is other elements really helping out this song. So it's not too bad, not too egregious. I keep saying that word a lot today. I don't know, it's a new word I'm saying a lot today. But, I do enjoy what I'm hearing overall. This hook is replayed a lot, but I think, that's kind of the thing about this song is that, it really does feel like a classic-ass pop song, replaying the hook a bunch of times, getting stuck in your head. I think it can get stuck in your head. It's not one of the craziest hooks that I've heard. Also, it's not one of my favorite hooks I've heard, but I think, if you listen to this song, it's got some replay value with that addicting, hook. So the hook's not bad. Actually sounds pretty good. The singing's really good. The flow on it's really good. And I like how more the instrumental kind of rises up as you're listening to the hook. Then, I will say, the second verse is a little bit more the same as the beginning verse, which I was kind of surprised by. Usually KATSEYE, they do crazy switch-ups. The crazy switch-ups don't really happen on this song. I mean, there is a vocal switch-up with the second verse, but that vocal switch-up is just kind of like taking the vocals, taking the EQ, and just like driving it through a fucking like old-ass radio. Like, that's how it fucking sounds. So, it's not really that good. And then it just kind of goes back to more of the beginning verse. So, I overall don't really enjoy the second verse. I think it sounds too similar, and then it just kind of quickly goes back to the hook. So the second verse is more the same as the beginning verse. That's my only critique. I wish there was some more to it. But I do like, the third variation of the hook. There is some good vocal runways. There's some nice, moments where, the vocals are held out. And the singing overall gets a lot better as the song goes on. So overall, when we talk about KATSEYE Animal, this is actually one of the better tracks I've heard from KATSEYE. I was really hoping for not a brain rot slot music, and this actually does the job here. It's not my favorite KATSEYE song. I would even say it's not like the best. But, this is a lot better than some of the other music they've been releasing. So, hey, really good instrumental. I like the instrumental. I like the beginning verse. The hook is actually pretty good. The second verse is not really my thing. It just sounds too similar as the beginning one. There's not many vocal switches or flow switches on there. So overall, I will give this song a nice 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10, guys. What'd y'all think about it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? I don't know. Let me know. If you're on YouTube, Spotify, Pandora, wherever you get your podcast at, make sure you follow, turn on notifications, guys. We're dropping new content every single day. And also, we are getting back to it. We are back on the pop music grind. We even got some country music to check out later this week, too. So we got a different variety of music reviews we're doing this week. So get ready, follow the show, and I'll see y'all later. Have a good one. Yeah, guys. Bye.